Here I again,
Daria
and Liza. Hey guys, we are with you, you are with us as usual. So this is already the third episode, and so we were discussing and thinking with Liza what can we talk about in this very episode, and it is quite logical that we are going to talk about corporate world. And why is it logical, Liza?
Yeah, because in the previous episode we mentioned that German language is often a must to work in a classical German corporate company. That's why we decided to dive deeply in this topic and talk more about German corporate culture, German classical companies. Let me say what are the advantages and disadvantages, what
surprises us.
Yeah, exactly. What can you expect, and maybe something that you wouldn't expect from German corporate culture. So yeah, today we will open the doors to the German corporate world.
Well, we decided to make this episode a little bit more structured, well, we can say in a German way. We prepared some cards. So we divided the information we are going to talk about into some cards, and not to forget all the important stuff. Please expect us to read these subcategories and to discuss them a little bit.
Yeah. Would you mind when we...
So, how we say?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I can start. So the category number 1 is work-life balance. And what can we discuss here? Of course, it's probably vacation culture. Liza, can you tell me how many days do you normally have in your country when we speak about vacation?
In my country, we have 4 weeks vacation in general.
28 days.
Yeah, 28 days, but it's calendar days and not working days.
It's the same thing with me. I mean, unfortunately for me it was very difficult in a way that here I'm totally pleased. Actually, only working days count.
Exactly.
That's good, because you can take, for example, from Monday to Friday without this Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, without.
Because in our countries, I think it's pretty normal that you have to also take this one Saturdays and Sundays, and it means like fewer days for you to have some rest, to go somewhere.
Exactly.
And also we have, which is a great thing, public holidays. Normally they start from April, right? From the Eastern holidays.
Yeah, from Eastern holidays, exactly.
And if I'm not mistaken, they are normally like religious holidays.
Yeah, mostly religious holidays, exactly. We should say that public holidays also differ from the region where you live. So I think, like, for example, we live in Frankfurt am Main, in Hessen, and I think we have the least amount of public holidays. So if you live, for example, somewhere in the south of Germany, like in Bayern or Baden-Württemberg,
or in North Rhine-Westphalia,
exactly. So you're the lucky one because you have, I think, like 2-3 public holidays more.
And as the name of this category, work-life balance, I would also like to say that in Germany, here it's pretty important, I would say, exactly to have this some kind of balance between your life, private life, and also work. It's not like that you work or every second person just works a lot. No, I work enough, but then I also want to have my private life and also put some attention to this.
Yeah, I mean, I should admit that this word, I think, exists only in German language, Feierabend.
Yeah.
And this is actually like the after work, where you have your free time, after working day.
When you are done with your job.
Yeah, exactly. I think it also says typical German corporate companies are very good at work-life balance.
And also here, maybe sick leave. I mean, it's a good thing, and for me it was pretty unusual that sick leave means that you can, not maybe everywhere, again, based on our experience, but in a big corporate world, you can take your sick leave, and I mean, without a doctor note, so you can be ill, sick, up to 3 days.
Yeah,
and only on the 4th day, you have to bring this doctor's note.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah, so it's good, so it's some kind of trustment culture. Exactly, for example, like for girls and for women who have maybe some strong pain during menstruation period, it's also a good way to have a rest for this day, so you don't really need to visit the doctor.
Well, that was the first card. And Liza, please, now it's your turn. What's there?
I have daily office life. Let me say, like, we both work in IT consulting, so we basically have a right to work hybrid.
Which is great.
Which is obviously great. I mean, I'm Gen Z, so I have never worked like 5 days in the office without home office.
I also do know what it is to get home, and it's perfect when you don't need to waste just so much time to go to work every day, all night, I want to say, and then you need to go back. It's just when you can wake up, you can have your coffee, and then you can just start working right from your home office. And you can, of course, you need to be appropriately dressed, and then you have your blouse, and that's it probably, and then some shorts, some pants, and that's it.
Some joggers. I should admit that of course it depends on the company. Like some companies allow like 100% home office, like remote first culture. Some companies require the employees to go to the office, let me say, like twice a week. But of course, like in our work, it depends on the project.
But we normally, I would say, we probably go, the people who usually stay at home, in a home office, as we say. I think it's very close for you IT people if you watch us. And of course, here it's very important to say that you're going to go to work, to the office, to have some communication.
Exactly.
Because there's a lack of communication when you're only at home, and of course you have all these calls, meetings, emails, but it's not the same as personal contact. That's why we mostly come there and then, oh, please, let's talk to each other. So it's important for us to have this opportunity.
Maybe to do some tasks together and not only
for some team spirit.
Exactly. In team meetings, and I would say also, like in most companies, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are the office days. I would say that on Mondays and on Fridays, very few people go to the office, so because it's close to the weekend, which is pretty logically.
And Europeans and Germans, normally they prefer to travel. That's why Friday is kind of, in a way, it can be a short day, and then you can be like ready to start to explore the world.
So the next point I would like to discuss is meetings culture. I would say
our favorite.
Usually you have a lot of meetings, a lot of calls
during the day.
During the workday. German working culture is generally based on trust and on transparency, so everybody is allowed to be included in the decision-making process. Everybody is allowed to participate in meetings and discussions,
to express their
etc. Of course, exactly. And on some point, it's it's an advantage, but on the other hand, it slows down the decision-making process, I would say.
And it eats time.
It's time. And I would also say that you also have like some kind of hierarchy in decision-making process. So you have to approve some stuff, you have to improve some tasks.
So bureaucracy
with your manager, exactly.
With the manager of the manager of the manager.
So basically it's a good way of communication on all the stuff. But on the other hand, you have like a long process to approve the decisions. And that is some kind of disadvantage, I would say.
Maybe it could have been done like easier or just without so many steps on the stairs. So just from point A to point B is just such a hard way, and sometimes you think, well, instead of all of those thousands of meetings, you could probably just do what you're supposed to do without.
Sometimes you just think, okay, this meeting could have been an email.
Of course, a good small talk is good.
I would say also it's very important to have a clear agenda for the meetings, so you don't discuss everything that's going on in the world. And the next point is coffee or smoke breaks. I would say that coffee breaks is like Kaffeepause. It's such a German think, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say, especially exactly coffee, or we have a great terrace, for example, in our office now, and it's just a huge one. That's why we can grill there and so on. But people just really go there to smoke, for example, and it's really a small talk and a smoke talk, because you can discuss all of the things. Maybe again, your personal issues.
Yeah, well, it's not exactly a small talk, but it's a long talk.
Yeah, and it's also a networking thing. When you go to smoke and talk, what do you do? Network.
Yeah, it's networking, exactly. Like, networking is also an important part of German corporate cultures, especially in huge companies where everybody is working on the client project. So you don't really have to deal with your colleagues, you don't really know them
so many different departments.
Exactly, yeah, and due to hybrid work, you
don't see people.
Yeah, you don't see people, you don't communicate on a daily basis. So basically, like, networking is a very important stuff. So there are even dedicated events, such after work and all the stuff when you and these events are really meant to network. So you don't really talk about like, hey, like, I think Germans are really very good at networking, because
you need to come to someone and intrude. You need to come with your topic. Hey guys, you were talking, but now my turn.
Yeah, you really do have to know how to talk with everybody, how to introduce yourself, how to begin the small talk and all the stuff. And even if you don't want to say, how you can help in this situation. So there are even some networking trainings. Even
maybe business communication.
Yeah, even in our company, and it's really a huge thing if you know the people, if you know your colleagues, your directors, managers, whatever. What do they live? What do they do for a living, for work? So it's
what
really
project are they in?
To maintenance your relationships. Yeah, and to have good connections, which is called vitamin B, which means like vitamin B for Beziehungen, which means relationships.
And now, card number 3, what do we have here? Okay, getting a job and learning on the job. If you are not perfect, it sounds like an advertisement. If you are not perfect, but you think you really can do something and you have some doubts.
Who says you
So you need to be sure about yourself. But I mean, we had these fears and I had these doubts and I thought, oh, how am I going to work at such a company, at a big company in Germany? But it's all like nonsense. It's fine. You are perfect. If you think you are, just believe this, continue. And I mean, you can come to the company, and if someone already said, yeah, fine, you can come, you can start, so don't hesitate. And even if you lack some skills, some maybe technical skills, if we speak about IT world, our world, if probably your German is not enough at the moment, it's fine, because even for me was the case. I was working, and thanks to this crisis corona time, of course, there was not that much communication. So one of my boss, he said to me, hey Daria, maybe you need to go to some language courses, so your German is not that good as we suppose it will be. It's fine, you need to be okay with the critique, with a constructive one. So then I went to the courses, and it was great, because it's one more way where you meet people like you are, foreigners, where you can improve your language. Skills. You can find some friends, and we normally have different platforms, I guess, at our company, at some other companies like ours, where you can find. Now I think it's pretty popular, especially for your generation, like how it's called again?
Gen Z.
Yeah, Gen Z. So people now are totally digitalized, especially in IT world. So you can find everything online. If you don't know how to use Excel, let's say, then you can find.
Or you can ask AI for help.
Now you can ask ChatGPT again for help. So it's fine if something is not okay, let's say with you, you're not a perfect match at the moment, you're not 100%, you're going to be. Here you need to have, like German said, Lernbereitschaft. So if you're willing to learn, if you're ready to work hard, if you're ready to achieve all of those things that you don't have at the moment, they are ready also to give you this chance.
This willingness to learn is a must-have. Doesn't matter if you're a junior or senior director or whatever, it's always important to be ready for the new, to learn something new, to develop yourself, and not act like, oh, I know everything in this one. smart.
Yeah. It's not about that. Yeah.
So we have the number 4, and it's pretty, let me say, a surprising topic for people who are not familiar with the Germans and German working culture in general.
Then I know that.
And it's job security.
Yes, that's one of the most important things.
Because let me say, like in general, as an employee, you're very, very, very secure in your job. Like most of the time you have even a working contract which has no expiration date. And you have like a 3 months period. So that means that you can stay like basically at this workplace,
Forever.
Let me say forever.
Until the end.
Yes, that doesn't mean that like in 1 year or in 2 years your working contract will expire and then you have to leave the job and search for a new one. In huge companies there is always a workers' council, which is called in German Betriebsrat.
People who represent employees.
Exactly. So they are basically employees itself. And like I think
at least in our company.
Yeah, I think like every year you can vote and choose some new people for the working countries, and these are the people who represent the interest of the employees. They are basically there to protect your rights, to protect your own interest.
To protect you in general.
Yeah, to protect you in general.
And it's great because you then do feel that people care about you. It does matter what you think, what probably is not fine for you, what you want to change. At least you can try to do that. Maybe not in every case. It means that, okay, now we are going to do everything as we want it to be, but at least we can try. And I'm personally, I think you are as well, we are really thankful to this Betriebsrat and for their protection.
Also, you feel that you belong to this company, you can change something with your voice.
You are not just some element, but you are a human being, and people see you.
So the next one, something we mentioned recently, that it's not easy to fire someone.
Unfortunately or fortunately, I mean it depends.
So basically it's very hard to fire someone because the employee can also go to the court or hire a lawyer
to sue you.
Exactly. So even if in some case you will be fired, you will get a compensation. You will get like a 3 months notice.
So you can really have some good terms for you to then stay without work. You have some money to live on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but for example, if you are not achieving some KPIs, that wouldn't be a reason to fire you. So it should be really like a strong reason to fire you. If, for example, if you steal some, or if you, I don't know, like committed some crime, like insider trading or something like that.
You're totally right. So you can be fired generally. It can be complicated, but of course there are some strong reasons for that. But normally, if you are fine, if everything is okay, and you work, you do your best. So even if something is wrong, so it's not the case that you are easily going to be fired.
Yeah. If it happens, you have some severance packages like agreements for several salary or some kind of compensation. I think it's based also on your year salary and on the amount of years you were working for this company.
According to the German law.
Yeah, exactly.
I say that I appreciate Germany for that as well.
So like as an employee, you're very secure and you have many social benefits, I would say. So now it's your turn.
Yeah, now it's my turn. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, I think that's your favorite topic. Generations in the workplace. I mean, here we need to stay tolerant if we are going to be. What is important to say, Germany is pretty peculiar for me. And for example, in my home country, in IT world, well, there were normally people, let's say, of the same age. No, it was not the same age, but there was not such a big gap difference.
Exactly.
Because IT is something, some kind of, I don't know, something modern, let's say, not that old in a way, and that's why you normally come there because now it's a good way to get some money, it's a good, safe
Very
place.
young
You can
industry.
develop, it's a young industry. But here, when I just went to Germany and I started to work here in the IT corporate world, so I was a little bit surprised, let's say, because exactly in a team, when you have a mixed team, and then it can be like you are in your 20s and someone is in your 30s, it's fine, it's okay, but then someone can be in 50s or 60s, because as I say, people live long in Germany, it's a good thing, but also, of course, maybe you know it better, of course it can also bring the benefits when you can have some generation exchange, and of course the experience that I have after 50 years I can pass on to you, and then it's fine, you learn something from me. But where is the difficulty here? Can you tell me what bothers you?
You should expect that some employees, some co-workers will be older than your parents. And you have to deal
grandparents.
And you have to deal with it. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but you should also keep in mind this generation gap, because not everyone is in their 20s and familiar with modern technologies and all this stuff. I mean, of course it depends on the person, but for example, like I'm in my mid-20s and I talk to ChatGPT as a friend, like
a lot.
Like to you, yes. And for some people who are like older than we are, it could be a challenge, for example, so they are like skeptical about AI and all that stuff. And it's like, I would say it's also a different dynamic, because like,
you have drive still.
I still have some drive, and I mean, I don't have children at the moment, and I also finished my university, so now I have the time and the energy to focus on my career and the motivation to build it. But for example, the other colleagues, maybe they're close to retirement and they don't have this passion and drive anymore.
They are fed up with this life.
To the project, which is absolutely normal, to be honest. I'm not at the point of life, and like I cannot easily discuss One Direction or Taylor Swift.
And it's fine. It's just difficult to work together when you're all different about different things.
Exactly.
So, but this is how it is. I mean, we talk here about the big corporate world, but of course, if you go, as we mentioned earlier, if there is some startup, especially IT startup, I think there you would have also colleagues of the same age as you are, of the same interests, so probably it will be easier there. Well, that was number 5. What do you have under the other?
I have the last one, and it's number 6, and it's an interesting topic, and transition to retirement.
Something that awaits all of us, hopefully.
So do you have any special?
I just wanted to say here, for me it was, for example, really unusual and peculiar in a way that I haven't heard about something like this before in general, in my home country and somewhere else. As I've heard, I'm not sure that it's everywhere, but it can be the case, as we already discussed. For example, now it's a crisis time. And many people, unfortunately, can be at such companies like ours without a project. It's called a bench time, when you are on this bench without work, and then you do some other stuff. Of course, you have also some tasks, but it's not the same as when you have some project. Like people who are close to retirement, and for example, it is left like 1 year or 2 years, and then you just are without this project. And in order not to bring you too much stress, like your manager, boss of the boss, you can tell you like, hey Petra, I don't know, hey Gabriel, now it's time for you to go and have some rest and finally have some fun in life. So maybe this 1-2 years you don't have to, I don't know, work really hard or just be crazy about, I don't have a project. You can just gradually go to your retirement, and we are going to bring you some, offer you some compensation. So you get this, I don't know, 1 year compensation, for example, and then you really don't need to care about that 1-2 years that is left for you, but you can just really focus on your children, on your grandchildren, on your garden, on, I don't know, some other stuff, on your friends, finally see them, and just travel somewhere. Of course, in case you have money for that, but still, if you get this compensation, so at least for 1 or 2 years, maybe you have this money. Just finally start to live.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
also
mean.
very good condition.
Well, I think that is probably it, right, Lisa?
I have only one statement to offer. Like, basically, I would advise everyone to work in a traditional German corporate company. I think it's really worth it for internationals. It's a very nice
For experts.
Yeah, for experts. It's a way to integrate, to feel this integration.
Well, and the last thing that is left, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, is our traditional feature and the new fact for you guys. Lisa, what's the new fact for today?
Currently we have spring, and what was pretty surprising for me in Germany, the Germans do everything in advance, but really like in advance. So basically Easter is always celebrated in spring, but usually from the beginning of January or from the middle of January, you will see some Easter specials and Easter goods in the supermarkets, in the grocery stores. Yeah, exactly. In DM, in other maybe furniture stores. So it's basically normally that, like yesterday it was Christmas and today you have chocolate.
You need to be prepared for Easter.
Yeah, chocolate, eggs, flowers, chocolate, rabbits,
and eggs are everywhere. Guys, happy Easter for all of you.
Yeah, enjoy the holidays. Have a very nice, warm time with your loved ones. And
be healthy.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for watching and listening. Have a great week. We are going to see each other just
in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.